Recent attacks by the outlawed Boko Haram in Borno villages have thrown locals of rural communities into panic, as many are now migrating to Maiduguri. 3 elderly women have been burnt alive in their huts, while a boy got shot in the late evening attack on Meri Mai Umbu village, 11 kilometers from the capital city of Borno.
Meri Maimube is one of the adjoining towns to Dalori and Wanori, recently overrun by the insurgents. Yet again, on Friday, the unwanted happened after the Maghrib prayers. From the rubble of what used to be homes, residents are now picking the pieces of their possessions, scampering for safety. Children, too, are no longer at ease. Surrounding villages aren't taking chances. They are now migrating in droves to Maiduguri, the safest town in Borno currently. Bakaka Garbai represents these victims of insurgency who are now dislodged and fleeing to safer grounds.
Security agencies are supposed to do more. They are supposed to do more than what they are doing. Because if they will come very close to Maiduguri, that goes to show that really the insurgents are very close by. 4 people were killed. And at the same time, you could also see that people are migrating to Maiduguri. They are actually moving en masse to Maiduguri. This place is like a ghost town. Nobody is willing to stay because of the fear that they will repeat the attack.
Community leaders say at least 10,000 people have been displaced.
We told the garrison commander to let them increase the security personnel to us because the people whom they born here, they say they will not immigrate to go to anywhere. If they want to die, let them die here. And we are appealing to the federal government and the state government to let them come to their aid to rebuild their house with immediate effect.
Recent spate of insurgent attacks has shown that the anti-terrorism war isn't over yet.
Over now to Anambra State in Nigeria's southeast region, where 8 local government areas are to benefit from the 2x7.5 mega MVA injection substation of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company constructed at the Njikoka local government area of the state. The encouraging piece of information came from the state governor himself, Willie Obiano, during the commissioning of the projects executed under the National Integrated Power Project Scheme by the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company.
Music and fanfare greets Governor Willie Obiano's arrival to the venue, with the Deputy Governor, Dr. Nkem Okeke, alongside other government functionaries who are here to receive him for the epoch-making event that the governor believes will transform the economic lives of the people in the area. First, the Deputy Governor, in whose domain the project is domiciled, is appreciative.
We all know that for development to take place, you need power. And what you're doing here is going to help this community. The lives will improve. People can move about. People can start businesses knowing that there will be supply of electricity. It's a great achievement. And the people of this area, thank you very much for your efforts, Your Excellency.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, EEDC, Mr. Robert Dickerman, explains that the project has been in the works for a while, but the administration of Governor Obiano fast-tracked the power project.
The injection substations, when energized, will stand to be a source of supply for 4 major feeders across the state. Anambra State is rightly recognized as a leading industrial hub in Nigeria. It is on this note that we wish to solicit His Excellency's kind intercession with the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing with respect to the completion of the main substation for the benefit of Ndi Anambra in particular and Nigerians in general.
Governor Obiano, on his part, describes the completion of the facility as a major milestone in his power sector revolution agenda.
Our next attack will be the substation at Nnewi, which is about 60% done. I've just discussed with Mr. Ikeman, the MD of EEDC, the assistance they require from the state for us to be able to complete that. lights, and there is...
Highlight of the event is the commissioning of the project and the switching on of power to commence supply to communities. Under the present administration of Governor Willie Obiano, the power sector is receiving priority attention to effectively drive the industrialization and agricultural revolution agenda of the state.
One of the leading causes of morbidity and mortality worldwide is cancer. According to the World Health Organization, the WHO, approximately 14 million new cases were recorded globally in 2012. With the number of new cases expected to rise by about 70% over the next 2 decades, our focus on health tonight highlights some of the risk factors for cancer and preventive measures where possible. Our correspondent, Yomi Otaigbe, reports.
Cancer can affect anyone, male and female, the young and old, rich and poor. It's one of the medical conditions that sometimes defy scientific explanation. Yet, it's been linked to genetics, the environment, infections, and a joint effect of diet, obesity, and physical inactivity.
Cancer is a genetic problem in which a cell decide to be growing abnormally because there has been corruption in the gene of the cell that controls cell growth. Once a cell enters an uncontrollable divide and can penetrate the environment and transfer itself to other places to divide, to start multiplying, that cell becomes cancer. So a cancer is part of our cell that has literally gone mad and is not obeying instruction anymore.
According to the World Health Organization, more than 60% of the world's total new annual cancer cases occur in Africa, Asia, and Central and South America. Common cancers in both male and female include those found in the lungs, colorectal, and stomach, while prostate cancer is specific to men, with breast and cervical cancers specific to women. In children, leukemia and bone cancers are more common.
We don't have records in Nigeria. All we have is individual hospital-based records, and they don't reflect exactly the total picture in the country. Nigeria has been trying to have this cancer registry. It is still largely managed by each hospital. It is not coordinated at the center, and it should be. That time we'll be able to give you figures of cancers occurring in Nigeria.
It is said that more than 30% of cancer deaths could be prevented, but late presentation and detection have been identified as factors that reduce the chances of survival from cancer in Nigeria.
The stage at which they present has always been stage 3 and stage 4. It was so 3 decades ago, it's still so now. So what can we do? How can we refine our plans, coordinate our resources better to change presentation from 3 to 4?
Government still needs to subsidize the cost of treatment. We still have a long way to go.
Prevention of some cancers caused by infections such as the human papilloma virus is achievable through vaccination, while healthy lifestyle choices, early detection of the disease and prompt treatment can reduce mortality from some cancers. Yomi Otaigbe reporting for Channels Television News.
Well, Executive Secretary of the Committee Encouraging Corporate Philanthropy, Dr. Abia Nzelu, now joins us on the News at 10 to have a broader understanding of the subject. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the News at 10. What is, to you, the burden of cancer in Nigeria today?
Well, according to WHO, we have over 100,000 new cases every year of cancer, and then about 80,000 deaths in Nigeria. And out of these, so it means that we have about 1 in 5 survival rate. Out of every 5 people that have cancer, only 1 survives. And it also means that about 10 Nigerians die every hour of cancer. Now, when you look at the specific cancers, the most common cancer in women and the most common cancer in Nigeria is breast cancer. Now, 40 women die every day of breast cancer in Nigeria, according to the statistics by WHO. It was 30 by the 2008 statistics. Within 4 years, it increased to 40. Now, for cervical cancer, which is the second most common cancer in women, it's reduced that's reduced from 26 to 22, and that was due to efforts that have been focused towards the prevention of cervical cancer. And now we talk about men. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer in men. Prostate cancer increased from 14 men dying every day. Within 4 years, it increased to 26. Almost 100%, 2 times increase in the incidence. And so we really need to put our hands together, which is why the World Cancer Day, which took place 2 days ago, the theme is that we can, I can. If we all put our hands together, we can win the big war, the war against cancer. So we all need to unite, which is the focus of the Committee Encouraging Corporate Philanthropy for now. The Committee Encouraging Corporate Philanthropy is focused on the big war against cancer in Nigeria, which is aimed at taking cancer prevention to the grassroots.
So what do you suppose that the government can do to cut down this death rates as a result of cancer?
Yeah, the government cannot do it alone, which is why the WHO, the World Cancer Day theme is on everyone.
I can do it, you can do it.
Yes, everyone together, the government, the private sector, everyone has a role to play. The government should make policies, should give more towards cancer in Nigeria. We need to have infrastructures for cancer care. We need to have National Cancer Institute. We need to have comprehensive cancer centers, which we don't have now in Nigeria. We need to have mobile system. The private sector needs to join hands together to make it happen.
What would you like to see that government is not doing now that you think can impact on this cause?
Now, like I said, we don't have the infrastructure now. We don't have comprehensive cancer center, we don't have the mobile centers. So the government needs to make policies, it needs to give more towards the establishment of these centers. The private sector, like I said, also needs to come together, because if you look at what is happening in other developed countries, where you have this system, you have good survival rate for cancer, you find that every sector is involved. In India, for instance, where most of our people go to now for treatment, the first comprehensive cancer center was established by Tata, a philanthropist who saw the need after his wife had leukemia and there was no centers for treatment in India at that time, so he had to take the wife to England. But on his return, he decided that he should establish one. And that was how the centers started coming. And you have so many centers now in India, over 120, and Nigerians are going there. In the United States, the cancer situation was improved after the American Cancer Society started the campaign advocacy, and eventually government came in. So everybody needs to put hands together to ensure that we have improvement in cancer survivorship, that we have reduction in cancer burden. Cancer can be prevented, according to the WHO. 1/3 can be prevented from occurring at all by lifestyle changes. 1/3 can be cured if it's picked up early, if you have the right facilities. So why are we losing so many people to cancer? So we need to now put our hands together to have these structures established, have the mobile system, which is the cheapest way to get this prevention to the grassroots. If we have a mobile cancer center in Lagos, for instance, we'll have a roster. The mobile units goes from one community to the other to carry out screening, and it also has facilities for treatment of the early cases. So when people are picked up early, they can be treated. For instance, cervical cancer, which is related to human papilloma virus, you can prevent it by vaccination.
I'm afraid that this is where we're going to have to stop it.
Okay.
I want to thank you so much indeed, Dr. Abia Nzedu, for your time and your thoughts. She is, of course, of the Committee Encouraging Corporate Philanthropy. Thank you so much indeed for your time. Next on the news at 10 is Business News with Adeshawa Josh.
Good evening and welcome to Business News. The Vice President Corporate Banking at First City Monument Bank, Ms. Bronke Jibodu, says most Nigerian banks have reached their lending limits to the oil and gas sector. According to Ms. Jibodu, low oil prices have heavily impacted on banks not performing loans, leaving lenders in search of bailouts.
Take us out of this situation now. We're faced with restructuring, but even the restructuring, what sort of projections would you use? Because currently you can't even project. We were talking about using prices as low as $10, but then that has its own ripple effect. We're faced with the challenge of licenses that may expire before the expiration of whatever restructuring that we're doing today. The question that I can't answer is how do we get the funding for future projects? That's where the challenge is.
The 2015 report on public relations in Nigeria shows that there is need for more public data on the sector. The chief executive of BH Media, Ayeni Adekunle, while analyzing the report, attributes the lackluster patronage of PR agencies in the country to inconsistency in data compilation. Now, more forecast has been made as to the direction of inflation rate for the month of January. Economic research analysts at the Financial Derivatives Company Limited are projecting that year-on-year headline inflation will decline marginally to 9.5% in January from 9.6%, as reported by the National Bureau of Statistics in December. In their view, the underlying headline inflation movement is a combination of factors, mainly cost push. They attributed partly to the cumulative effect of a reduction in aggregate income and demand following a contraction in government spending. Now, the National Bureau of Statistics is expected to release the inflation rate for the month of January on the 17th of this month. Guarantee Trust Bank has launched a tender offer to repay a $500 million Eurobond, a move to deploy its available dollar liquidity ahead of the debt's maturity. The bank said the notes priced to yield 7.5% were due to mature in May 2016 and that the tender was voluntary. It said in a tender notice, the bank would maintain cash to repay any outstanding debt not tendered. The results of the tender offer will be announced on February the 11th. And that's Business News this hour. The News at 10 continues in just a moment. I am Adeshewa Josh.
Still ahead on the News at 10, Kenya's Abraham Kipto emerges winner of the Lagos City Marathon, crossing the finish line in 2 hours, 16 minutes and 21 seconds. That's the sports news. Stay with us.